New Year! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Oh my gosh, it's 2024. Welcome. It's been a while. We were on hiatus for a little bit, but we are going to go back into our regular scheduled program. We said last year in 2023, we'll go live Fridays at noon to celebrate that it's Friday and it's Fit and Fab Friday. So for those of you who are absolutely brand new to us, welcome, welcome, welcome. So my name is Coach Crystal. I am the host of the Get Crystallized show. And like Crystal's, strong women are made under pressure. And in this amazing series, I've had my beautiful co-host, Coach Janae. We have been since 2023, before we both competed at Worlds in November. We were sharing our journey, the Road to Pro series. So we've really wanted to unfold what it's like to be a fitness competitor over 40. What is the process like? And now we're both transitioning outside of the show. Our goals have changed, and that is what today is all about. I really wanted to share. Now, I don't know about you, Coach Janae, but I've got a love-hate with New Year's resolutions. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I think there's nothing wrong with having goals, but it's the action steps to support those goals is where a lot of people kind of fall off, and there's really no action plan, right? And so today, in order to create goals, I think the first thing that we need to do is learn the lessons from 2023. Why didn't you hit certain goals? Because that will literally set you up for success in 2024. So I'll start off with lessons learned. So one of the biggest lessons that I learned in 2023, and although, Coach Janae and I are both coaches, and, we teach our clients how to prepare before you go on vacation, I have to admit that I was good the first half of my vacation in Japan. I got my workouts in, I brought my protein powder, but then the second half, FOMO kicked in. The fear of missing out, and just like, I'm on vacation. And that I also fell into that deep hole, because the thing is, once you fall into that deep hole, it's really hard to climb out. And reflecting on, that when I came home, because I think we were about 2 weeks in Japan. When I came home, I was super fluffy. I basically took 10 steps back, because that was, when was that? That was May of 2023. And I was competing in November. And I literally, that week of completely falling off track took me back probably, I would say 6 to 8 weeks backwards. And that's a lot. And so I'm sure there's a lot of our listeners right now who have done the same, where they go on vacation, completely fall off track, drink alcohol galore, take full advantage of buffets morning, evening, and night. And next thing you know, you come home from your vacation, you step on that scale, and you know what you did. But then you get really upset. That was me. And at how much fat. And yes, a bit of it is water retention for sure. But let's be real. Like, I probably put on a few pounds of body fat while I was away, because I look at my check-in pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so fluffy, like unnecessarily fluffy. Yeah. So for me, the biggest lesson, because I've got 2 big trips in 2024. One of them is Hawaii, to celebrate my mother-in-law's 65th birthday. And then there is one that's up in the air, which is Mexico, or I think the Dominican, in November, to celebrate my cousin's 50th birthday. Nice. So you know what that means, right? Like being exposed to, again, the buffets, exposed to, again, like the people that are with us who are going to be eating all the things, drinking all the things. So before we get into how I'm going to avoid making that mistake again. I would love, Coach Janae, was there any lessons that you learned in 2023?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a ton of lessons. Like, I think like you learn lessons along the way. You learn lessons from maybe goals that you didn't quite, follow through with, or, just life events, work, personal, right? There's always going to be lessons learned. But I think personally, one of the things, and it takes me through both my nutrition, my fitness, my competition goals, everything is, it's all focused and centered around tracking and how important tracking is. So one of the biggest lessons that I learned was, even if you've been doing it forever, even if you are very familiar with macros and you understand it, and like no matter how much you know, it is a very slippery slope if you are not tracking, and you can very, very easily miss the mark by so much, right? And just because you haven't been tracking. And the thing is that if you're not tracking, you don't know what you don't know. So my biggest lesson is not just like the tracking specifically, but the data obtained during tracking and how valuable that data is. Because when something kind of doesn't go our way, when maybe we don't get quite the results that we are looking for, that we're aiming for, instead of wallowing in that, oh, I didn't make it, I didn't hit it, I always look at, okay, well, what can we tweak, or like, how can we change things to make them better? And if you don't have the right data, right, to kind of like reflect and look at where you've been or what you've done, like you basically don't have the right data to move forward and to make the changes, right? So, and that also goes to say with a lot of, when you're not just tracking throughout the week, but this also includes my check-ins, right? And the data that I'm providing on my weekly check-ins, no matter how ugly that data might look, right? So yeah, you were on vacation, you're a little bit fluffier, right? Those photos aren't quite as flattering as you would like them to be. The scale maybe kind of bumped up. Maybe there's 1,000,001 reasons why. Maybe you just got your period. Maybe you had a heavy leg workout the day before, or maybe the day before was a higher carb day, et cetera, et cetera. All of that information is important to collect and be as truthful as possible, and not to manipulate that data to make it, to make yourself feel good about it, if that makes any sense, right? So doing your weigh-in after your workout or after your HIIT training, right? So it was all about the consistency of tracking, right? So that all of these lessons are like, there's a bunch of little tiny ones, but they all kind of roll up under that one little theme, which is the tracking, and most importantly, the consistency with tracking. Because and it's not just to, like say like, oh, you didn't hit your target this week, or you failed, this week. That's not what it's about. It is about taking that data in, and to be able to reflect on that data and make changes appropriate to the data that you're tracking to, because it is hard to make improvements or start making adjustments either on your nutrition plan or your fitness plan if you don't have that backup data to help support what you're going to change in the first place. So tracking is so important. And regardless if you are doing it like 100%, like 100% of the time, like you're extreme, like us, maybe you're thinking about competing, or if you just are shooting for a healthier lifestyle, some semblance of tracking is going to help keep you honest, because it is so easy to forget the little nibble of this, the little nibble of that, or, just all of that. And even just keeping track of the weights that you're hitting in the gym, because it's really easy to forget that, oh yeah, I increased my weight by 5 pounds or 10 pounds next week, so I need to increase it again this week. So just tracking is just so important, right? And it's going to change, I think for me, for this year, it's going to change everything for this year, right?
I love that, because that actually segues perfectly with how then are we going to crush our goals in 2024? And that, going back to the lesson that I learned, that's one thing that was thrown out the window. I did not track. while I was on my vacation. And we have something inside our program called BAM, and that's your bare ass minimum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bare ass minimum of tracking.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that looks like, you know, on vacation is at bare minimum, getting my 3 workouts in and hitting my protein and getting my water in. Those 3 components, no matter where I'm vacationing, there's no reason why I can't do that, right? So, you know, for us, obviously, we're fitness competitors. It's a little bit more specific, but generally speaking, for our women, we want them to consume anywhere between 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. So, you know, doing that, like whether it's bringing, you know, protein powder, because you know that 1 scoop is 25 to 30 grams or 2 scoops is 25 to 30 grams, and having that with water before you hit the buffet, you know, or making sure that you have your water bottle with you at all times. And if you're on at a resort, for every sip of alcohol, have 2 sips of water, right? And then, you know, getting those workouts in. And so I love the fact that you said tracking, because I think where people fall off in achieving their goals is consistency. There's the lack of consistency. And the only way that you can be consistent is through tracking, right? And so, and an extra layer to that in order to be consistent, and I recently heard this from one of my mentors, is you have to fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
Too many people, whether it's tracking on MyFitnessPal, whether it's writing down the weights they use, whether, or even just working out and meal prepping in general, they look at it like it's a hindrance, like it's a chore, like, it takes too much time. I'm too tired. And that's the problem. That's where inconsistency happens, because you're looking at it from a perspective like it's going to take so much out of you. So there are a couple of layers on how to be consistent. So number 1, what is your why? Why do you want to get healthy in the first place? What does the best version of you even look like? Because one thing that I also heard that really hit home for me is every time you say yes, in brackets, to an excuse, you're saying no to the best version of you. So every time in Japan, when I said yes to that delicious, crisp beer, Sapporo beer, I was saying no to the best, healthiest, fittest version of me. Every time I said yes, you know, to eating that yummy, you know, high carb thing, I'm saying no to that flat tummy and full of energy version of me. So going into 2024, you got to ask yourself, okay, if I'm saying yes to this, I'm saying no to that best version of me. So that's one tip to learn how to be consistent, right? Is pausing for a second. And then I think the next layer to that is, how do we make the process enjoyable? So for example, if you really think that meal prepping is a chore, but you know that if you don't meal prep on the Sunday, you're going to be stuck Uber eating. You're going to be stuck eating things that you know you shouldn't because you didn't prep anything. So maybe, you know, meal prep, that hour that you take to meal prep on Sunday, maybe you put like a really amazing podcast on. That's the opportunity where you're listening to really the music that you love, or maybe you call a girlfriend up and maybe meal prep together through Zoom, or just even catch up with her for that hour while you're meal prepping. So that way, that hour of meal prepping, you're looking forward to it. Right?
I love that idea. I love that idea of like connecting with a friend or family member, because I always used to, I'm of that generation of like, why are you calling me? Just text me. So I tend to lose touch a little bit. And so when we do connect on phone, it's a long conversation. And then I always think about the millions of things I could be doing that I'm not doing. And then I kind of drudge or am not looking forward to that phone call. But I like the idea of being able to double up, because I still feel like I'm being productive and I'm doing something. And then I'm having like a nice, light, enjoyable conversation. I can actually enjoy the conversation, right? So I think that's a great idea. I love it.
Absolutely. So when you think about what is that process, right? Because typically it's meal prepping, getting your workouts in, right? So how, again, our topic is how do we make it enjoyable? So one of them is if there's something that you know that you need to do, but you've attached it to being a chore or something that you're dreading doing, then why not look at it as, how do I make it enjoyable, right? How do I make it enjoyable? By creating kind of like what we call, I just learned this term, it's called temptation bundle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing something that you want to do with something that you have to do. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like the first step, right? To making your, making that task or that new habit that you want to adapt enjoyable. So, and then the second thing on how to master consistency, because that is really how you hit your goal, is habit stacking. So James Clear, he talks about, okay, let's take a habit that you always do. So say, for example, brushing your teeth, Lord willing, every single one of you brush your teeth every single day, right? So let's say brushing your teeth, because you do it every single day, every morning, maybe you habit stack your workout immediately after you brush your teeth. Let's say your ideal is to do it in the morning. So it might look like getting up 30 minutes earlier, start off with a small goal, start off with 20, 30 minutes every day. Okay. Set your alarm earlier and then put your toothbrush on top of your workout clothes and your gym shoes, like your workout shoes. And it's like, the habit is after I brush my teeth, I'm going to work out. And then to make it even more appealing, after you get your workout in, you have a reward. So maybe that's for you. Maybe that's, your favorite cup of coffee while scrolling on Facebook for 10 minutes. Maybe it's, I don't know, or maybe it's, playing with your dog for 10, I don't know what it is. Put some type of reward after you've done that habit that you're trying to be consistent with. So it looks like step one, attach the new habit, AKA, working out, to a habit you already do, brushing your teeth, and then add a reward immediately after you've done that new habit that you're trying to be consistent with. So there's tip number two. Like, what would be a reward for you, Coach Janae? I know you don't need a reward. I know working out is already the reward. I know that. But like, what would be a reward for you if you were trying to adapt a habit? Like, what would be like, yay, now I deserve this? What would that be for you?
I definitely rely a lot on like my me time, my downtime, right? Like, so if that means, an hour episode of a favorite show on Netflix and a hot cup of tea where I'm just like laying back, relaxing in bed, and I have my dogs and my cats all around me and I'm just all comfy and I don't have to move for like that duration of that show. That's normally my go-to kind of like reward, because then I can do all the dishes, clean the kitchen, even things like that, right? Like it doesn't even have to, it's not just a great practice for, adding in a new, fitness or nutrition kind of habit, but also all of those other, chores that you have to do. I like tying them into like that nice little reward. And I'll always tie it in with like a Netflix, like a non-productive activity, if that makes sense. Or maybe that's like a hot bath, or I'm gonna have a foot soak, right? Like I love using like the self-care rewards, because that is truly like me time. It's actually like super beneficial. It's like a double reward, right? Like it's good for my body and good for my mind. So I love kind of doubling up on that. And then I don't feel guilty about taking that extra time just for myself and only using that time for myself, because I earned it, right? Yes. Like I did the things I didn't want to do, so I get to enjoy this, right?
And you know what? That I hear a lot of our clients who one of their like New Year's resolutions is just to declutter. And the thought of decluttering was like, it's so overwhelming that procrastination kicks in. So you're right. Even if it's not I need to adapt this new habit, but maybe it's, I just really need to declutter my space, because I know when that happens, I'm in a better frame of mind. I'm not as stressed out. And that actually affects your health. So maybe if you take 1 hour to declutter, then your reward is 1 hour of Netflix. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
so
perfect because we always fall into the trap of if you start with the Netflix,
right,
you may not get to the
game
chore,
over,
right?
game over, because that little Netflix is so smart. It tells you that it's going to start the next episode in 5 seconds. You're like, oh, I know I should declutter right now, but I just got to know what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Don't even go there. 100%. Yeah. Okay. So the first tip we covered was, making the habit that you want to be consistent with. How do you make it more enjoyable? The second tip was habit stacking and, attaching it to something you already do and rewarding yourself. And the last tip that we want to share on how to be consistent so that you finally crush your goals is making your bad habits really annoying. Okay. So as an example, maybe you have a bad habit of snacking, right? And so maybe it's totally clearing out your cupboards and your fridge of all the junk. And so if you wanted that junk snack, you would have to get into your car. You'd have to drive to the grocery store. So you just make it really, really annoying, right? Yes. Or maybe the bad habit you want to break in order for you to be consistent is stop pressing the snooze button 5 trillion times, because every time you do, you're just shortening the window to be able to work out. So maybe putting your phone in your washroom so that, and to the loudest, most like annoying, annoying alarm, not something that's like, and something ready to wake up to, but like the most annoying alarm and super loud, whether it's in the washroom or another room. And that when that thing goes off, there's no way, because you got to get up, right? And you got to turn it off and you're already up. And then I want to challenge you that if that's the time you're trying to work out, wherever that phone is, your workout clothes are right there to remind you, okay, you're up, get these workout clothes on, get your butt into your, doing your workout. So what would be like an example of an annoying habit that you're trying to break and make it, how would you make it more annoying?
Well, I will say, like, so when we're in prep and like all of like my favorite foods or those snacky foods, whatever they are, like the foods that are easy to over consume, and they're not necessarily, they don't have to do anything with not in my plan or anything, but just easy to overeat or easy to overindulge. I do that of like clearing it all out from my house and making it extremely difficult to go and get them. Right. Because, and I will say, I can't, the proof is like, I will just like, oh, it's not worth the trouble. It's not, exactly. I don't want to do it. Right. So it is like, that really does work. I really, really love that one. And that doesn't mean that you can never have a bag of chips in your house ever again, but it's like you can be strategic about it. And like now it becomes more of a planned event, right? So incorporating that planned, if you're having guests over and now you have the chips in the house, right? But other than that, unless it's for a planned event or something special, it's not a part of like my regular grocery list, right? It's not part of it's not in my cabinets at all times, nothing like that. So it really does work, because I definitely have had those moments where I'm like, oh, I really feel like, extra almonds right now, but I don't have any. I'd have to go to the store and never mind. I guess I'm not that hungry after all. And that does actually kind of help you understand a little bit more about your own kind of cravings and maybe emotional habits or emotional eating habits that you're not even fully aware of. Because if you're not going to go through all the trouble of driving and going and picking up this food item, then either you're not really that hungry or you don't really need it in the first place. Right.
Absolutely. So, well, that's the thing, right? There's a difference between hunger and cravings, right? Yeah. If you're hungry, you're going to eat something that's satiating. Yes. But if you're craving something, normally it's like, something that has empty calories. right? So there's a big difference. And what you just did there was take a swig of water. Try that. Maybe you're actually
Yes.
thirsty, right? Maybe you're actually thirsty.
Exactly.
Actually, while you were talking, we gave you 3 tips on how to master consistency to finally crush your goals. But there was actually one more that I wanted to give as a bonus tip when it comes to consistency. So let's just quickly recap. So the first one is, when you're wanting to master consistency, make the process enjoyable. So like we said, we gave the example, if it's meal prepping that you're having a hard time being consistent with, use that as an opportunity to catch up with a girlfriend. Have her on Zoom or have her on the phone and catch up while you're meal prepping. The second one is habit stacking, putting that new habit you want to adapt to something that you already do without thinking, and then rewarding yourself. And then the third thing is making the bad habits that you're trying to crush super annoying, right? And so the last thing that I wanted to share about mastering consistency, and I think is also important, is having like accountability. Because here's the thing: when you're trying to be consistent, I know a lot of the times, you may be your own island where no one in your family is trying to get healthy. None of your girlfriends are really thinking about that. So I want to encourage you that maybe this year, 2024, is, become a part of a community of like-minded women who are all stretching for the same goal. Because when you have the support, when you have someone like who cares whether you show up or not, it makes a big difference. Like, right. When you have a coach, you have to, and Coach Nelson, my husband will always say, if I didn't have a coach, I would be super fluffy right now. Like, I'm really proud of him because he's like maybe 10% above his stage weight. And that goes for all of us, right? Like you honestly will stay more consistent when you have someone keeping you accountable. Yeah. Right. And so that's like the 4th bonus tip. But that leads me to something really, really special that we're doing is, for the first time ever, we are giving away 5 scholarships. 5 scholarships to they're partial scholarships to our 6-month Fit Beyond 40 weight loss transformation program, and 2 already have been awarded. So I wanted to give a big shout out to Lisa, and I just want to make sure that I say her last name correctly. Hold on. Lisa. I want to give her a proper shout out. Last name is, see their brand, Hartman. Lisa Hartman, congratulations, and Rosalia Guzman. So they are 2 recipients of our scholarship, which I'm really excited about. They're literally, I want to actually interview them, because I think it'd be really cool to interview them before, like right now when they start, and then 6 months after, and feature their transformation. I think we need to do that. Like, I'm going to see if they're available next week. Yeah. So, because that'd be pretty darn cool. So there is still an opportunity to apply. So really, it's by application only, because we're looking for women who are serious. Like, if you're looking for a quick fix and some type of fluffy program, please don't apply. Don't even waste your time. I'm looking for women who are ready for a complete lifestyle overhaul, where you are going to be given a personalized nutrition guideline, because we want you to be releasing anywhere between 1 to 2 pounds a week. We want to give you guys, a customized workout plan that is suited for your fitness level. For example, I know Rosalia has some back pains, so she's going to be utilizing our chair workout library, right? So, and then I also want I want to feature their transformation. So for one, we're going to interview them on our podcast now and later. I'm going to ask them to submit their before pictures, which means I'm going to want after pictures. Yeah. And I want their testimonial. And in order for that to happen, we need women who are ready to master consistency, like we were talking about today, who are ready for a lifestyle overhaul, who are ideally over 40, have, 30 to 60 pounds to release, and are serious about learning how to you know, release the weight and more importantly, never find it again. Yeah. So it's going to take a lot of hard work, which is why, you know, I've already received over 40 applications and not everyone is ready. And that's okay. Yeah. Like we're really looking for the women who are ready to work. You know, we've had some amazing women come through our program, and I'd love for you to share, Coach Janae, like talking just a little bit about the 3 pillars of health within our program. So, you know, what does the mindset component look like in our program?
The mindset is really just all about, and you heard us kind of like talking a little bit, especially myself, you know, like mindset is not necessarily something you need to you know, go like have to work on like all the time for the rest of your life. It does get better, but the mindset component will really help to start to get you in that right place and that right frame of mind. Because when it comes down to like nutrition changes, fitness changes, lifestyle changes, it's all in our heads, right? And all of the things that we have been telling ourselves for all of the many, many years, right? Like that, those are a lot of voices, and that is a lot of repetition that we have heard inside of ourselves for such a long time. So I
can't do it. I'm too old. It's too hard. What's the point? I've failed before. I'm too tired. All of that.
I'll never be able to do it anyway. I shouldn't even bother trying, right? So we have all had those voices, and we have all heard those sayings before in some form or another. So the mindset work is really trying to like work back some of that, understand kind of like where that has come from. But more importantly, how to heal from that and how to move forward from that, how to change those voices, how to start listening to the voices that say, yes, you can do it. I believe in you. This is going to be so worth it. You're going to love this, right? So more encouraging, very positive voices in your head, not just from yourself, but you're also the benefit of being in a program with like-minded women is that you're going to hear it from a bunch of other ladies too, as well as your coaches.
All over 40.
Exactly, right?
So we're all going through the same things.
Yeah. So now you have a team of positivity, of voices now helping you through those hard times, right? And sometimes it does get hard and it will get challenging when you're changing nutrition and fitness and you're trying to work it into your schedule and find time to do it. And you're still going to hear all of that, you just don't have time, or how do I, right? So you got to have that really tough, powerful mindset to get through that. And I would say that is really where the first part of the work will begin. That is the most important part of the work, because anyone can follow a program, a nutrition or a fitness program. But if you don't have your mindset right, you're not going to be able to stick to it. You're not going to be able to maintain it. You're not going to be able to make the significant changes that you need to one day be completely independent of it, right? And to be able to make it an everyday part of your life, right? So mindset is, we put a lot of value on mindset. There's a lot of time committed to mindset, a lot of work, but we're asking you to do a lot of work around it, right? So we give out the work, but the expectation is that you're doing that work, right? And that is, if you get that kind of started and downplay and you get a routine working with the mindset, the nutrition and the fitness component and all other lifestyle changes component are going to fall into place a lot quicker and a lot easier than you think, right? We always think that making these fitness changes or these nutrition changes are so challenging and so difficult. And it's not the actual fitness or nutrition change that's difficult. It's our mindset, right? It's our own kind of barriers, our own obstacles that we've put in front of us that have prevented us from moving forward with any of the changes that we want, right?
Yes.
So that is the most important, like the fitness, nutrition, it's very personalized. It's going to be dependent on where you are currently, you know, where you want to go, what your level of understanding is, your level of education. We're going to help you get to the next level, but we are going to start you where you are at, where you're comfortable, and give you something simple and just because you don't need to think about that. We want you focused in thinking about mindset. Let us worry about the fitness and nutrition component. You just follow the plan, just execute that, work on the mindset so that you can get strong enough to start, you know, the next level of the fitness and nutrition component of the pillars.
Yes. And I just want to echo and reiterate what you said, Coach Janae. We will give you the best nutrition and fitness plan for you at this point. But in order to not just trust the process, but trust yourself to complete the process, we need you in the right mindset. Because we have heard multiple times, after 2 weeks, I quit, I give up because I don't see the results fast enough. And like, it probably took you 10, 20, 30 years to get to where you're at. So why would you think it would all come off in 2 weeks? Right. And so that's where the mindset kicks in, and we teach you, you know, the secret on how to master consistency, how to stay the course, how to, you know, maintain that bare ass minimum, your BAM every single day. And I mean, really like master what we talked about this whole podcast, which is master consistency. That's it. Every plan works, every single one.
Yeah.
But the question is, are you consistent? And that's where the mindset kicks in. In order to master consistency, we need to fix what's going on up here. Like you said, the barriers, the self-sabotaging thoughts that we've believed are true, and 99.9% are not true, right? So we always say mindset matters most. So there's still an opportunity to apply. All you need to do, I think, the call to action, there's a couple of things. You can heart this post right now. If you're inside our Facebook group, heart this post, number 1. And then number 2, type pick me. Pick me down below, and then DM me the word scholarship, and I'll send you the application. That's it. Very, very simple. Heart this post, type pick me down below, and then send me a private message that says scholarship. I'll send you that application. Apply. You have nothing to lose but wait. And everything that we taught today on how to master consistency, here's the bonus. We'll help you.
Yes.
We'll help you. We'll help you. So I'm going to tap on Lisa and Rosalia's shoulder, and let's see if we can have them on as guests next week as the winners of our scholarship. And we'll talk to them about, you know, why they applied for the scholarship and, you know, what they've been struggling with. And we might even do maybe midway where they're at. We can interview them like halfway through and then at the end. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think that would be too. Yep.
Really does that sound good?
Sounds
okay.
Good.
So happy New Year to all of our listeners. And I just want to say a big shout out to Rosalia as well. She shared with me that she's been listening to the Get Crystallized show for the past year.
Oh, amazing.
Every time she runs, she sticks this in her earlobes, and she feeds her mind and while she's, you know, feeding her body. So I just wanted to give her the biggest shout out, biggest like heart, because honestly, I'm so happy that, you know, you've been listening to us for this past year, and now you are going to be featured on the show. So
that is so
like
cool.
full circle, right? Full circle.
Very cool.
So very, very happy to have her inside our family. So Coach Janae, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, Coach Crystal.
I love you so much. And we look forward to, interviewing our 2 newest additions to the R3 family. And there's still an opportunity for you to apply. So put pick me, send me a DM scholarship as soon as you can, because I'm closing the doors within the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay? All right. Till next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.